Deep beneath the churning surface of the East China Sea lies a structure that defies conventional history. For decades, it has remained a silent sentinel, shrouded in currents and controversy. We descend now into the crushing pressure of the Pacific. Welcome back to Echo's Unbound. It was identified as the second major node in the global stabilization grid. Investigation, the Yonaguni Monument. Our investigation begins at the edge of the Ryukyu Islands, where the seafloor suddenly drops. Here, the charcoal shadows of the deep meet the cyan glow of our scanning equipment. This is the Yonaguni Monument, a site that should not exist. The data suggests a construction date of 10,000 years ago. Critics call it a fluke of nature, the result of tectonic stress and erosion. But nature rarely creates staircases with uniform heights and perfectly level landings. As we map the site, the star appears in the reflection of the diver's visor. Geometry is too deliberate to be accidental. Looking closer at the twin megaliths, we see two massive upright blocks standing side by side. They appear to have been placed there by design, separated by a narrow, uniform gap. Our sensors detect a faint pulse wave emanating from the base of these stones. It suggests a resonance that predates the rising sea levels. If these are man-made, they represent a civilization that vanished before the dawn of Egypt or Sumer. The scale is megalithic, dwarfing the modern explorers who swim through its corridors. Every corner reveals evidence of intentionality, from post holes to drainage channels. The narrative of history is about to be rewritten. These are not the work of sea urchins. They are uniform in depth and diameter, suggesting they once held the pillars of a grander structure. We move toward the Loop Road, a paved-like path that circles the base of the main massif. The stone here is worn smoothly, yet the path maintains consistent width. Our scanners overlay a pathfinding mesh to track the intentionality of the route. It feels less like a reef and more like a citadel. The pulse wave returns here, rippling through the holes as if sensing the ghost of the architecture. We are looking at the foundation of a lost world. These holes were the anchors for a massive energy stabilization network, much like the ziggurats of Mesopotamia. Above us, the archway stands as a testament to megalithic engineering. Two massive blocks support a third, forming a gate that looks remarkably similar to structures found at Göbekli Tepe. The scale is immense, designed to withstand the test of time and the rising tides of a global cataclysm. Even in the deep, technology remains. Traces of liquid silver act as a conductor for the planetary frequency. To understand Yonaguni, we must look at the sea level maps from the end of the last ice age. 10,000 years ago, this was high ground, a coastal cliff. Our screen transitions into a data map. The drowning of this city was the result of the same great flood that fractured Sumer. At the summit of the monument, we find the Triangle Pool. Geologists struggled to explain how swirling currents could carve such a precise geometric shape. As the light hits the surface, the star reflects perfectly in the center. It acts as a celestial anchor in this submerged cathedral. This pool was likely a solar calendar. During the winter solstice, the sun would align perfectly with the carved notches in the surrounding stone. Our pulse waves simulate the ancient solar alignment, showing how the light would have traveled across the terrace. It was a machine for tracking time. But why track time so precisely? The King List tells us the teachers managed the planetary grid. If Yonaguni was a node, it required synchronization. we detect microscopic traces of liquid metal within the stone pores. These were the seeds of stabilization mentioned in the Sumerian logs. Near the base of the monument lies a formation known as the human face. While eroded by millennia of currents, the symmetry remains haunting. It mirrors the silver-skinned teachers we encountered in the Sumerian records. Is this a monument to the architects who left us behind? Our investigation reveals a hidden chamber behind the face. Here, the geometric frequency grids are at their strongest. The air, or what used to be air, is now a pressurized tomb of data. We are seeing the same mercury-based technology that powered the ziggurats of Ur. The connection is undeniable. The mathematical ratio of the Yonaguni steps is identical to the life geometry of the Weld-Blundell prism. Both sites were designed to resonate at the planetary alpha wave frequency. They were not temples of worship. They were stations of maintenance. As the tectonic plates shift, the monument continues to broadcast. Our sensors pick up a rhythmic signal, a heartbeat from the crust. It is a pulse wave that travels along the seafloor, reaching out to other nodes. The grid is waking up, triggered by the melting polar ice. Modern science remains divided. Geologists see natural fractures, while engineers see structural intent. But as our submersible approaches the lower tiers, we find markings that nature simply cannot justify. Perfectly carved symbols, glowing under our frequency scans with the heat of an active circuit. These are the sigils of the Second Age. They serve as the grounding points for the energy that once kept the Pacific Plate stable. The data indicates that the monument was part of a tectonic dampening system, built to prevent the very cataclysm that eventually claimed it. If we strip away the thousands of years of sediment and coral, the true form of the monument emerges. It is a massive, tiered power station. The internal corridors are designed to funnel the movement of water to generate a specific acoustic resonance. This is the frequency of the Earth itself. As the stars shift, the monument reacts. The celestial alignment is the trigger for the final activation. The teachers left their blueprints in the stone. Even now, after 10 millennia of submersion, the circuitry remains viable. We are not just looking at a ruin. We are looking at a dormant machine. Every touch of our equipment sends a ripple through the global network. The heartbeat of Yonaguni is accelerating. Our monitoring stations across the Pacific are reporting similar anomalies. From the Bimini Road to the sunken structures of India, the nodes are beginning to synchronize. The frequency that once descended to Sumer is rising from the depths. The interfaces have changed, but the purpose remains. In the ancient myths of the Ryukyu people, they spoke of a palace of the dragon goddess beneath the sea, a place where time stands still and the wisdom of the stars is kept. They were not talking about a legend, they were talking about a memory. The architecture was designed to be heard, not just seen. The loop road acts as a resonator for low-frequency sound waves. By standing in the center of the terrace, a human could theoretically tune their own biology to the rhythm of the planet. It was a site of evolutionary recalibration. The signal is broadcast. The unbinding of the Pacific Node is complete. The world above remains unaware of the shift occurring below, but the energy is already reaching the coastline. Our modern electrical grids are picking up ghost signals, interference patterns that match the cuneiform code of the King List. The ancient world is overlapping with the new. It starts with a glitch, a GPS error, a dropped call, a flickering light. We think it is a failure of technology, but it is an upgrade, The planetary grid is reclaiming its territory, overwriting our primitive silicon with the frequency of the stone. Behind the final seal of Yonaguni lies the truth of our origin. The teachers did not just build these structures to save the planet. They built them to store the essence of who we were. This door has not been opened in 12,000 years, until today. The records are accessible. The unbinding has begun. The map is now complete. The nodes are linked by a thread of light that has existed since before the first pharaoh. By understanding the geometry of Yonaguni, we unlock the sequence of the entire global network. We are no longer isolated civilizations. We are a single planetary engine. The teachers infused the environment itself with their science. Every drop of water in the Pacific carries the seed of their technology. It is a biological backup drive, waiting for the right frequency to trigger its release. The monument was the broadcaster. The ocean is the memory. We are the inheritors of a legacy we forgot we had. As we stand on the deck of our modern ships, looking down into the abyss, we look into a mirror. The echoes are no longer faint. They are a roar, demanding that we remember our role as the operators of this world. The pool is active. The mercury has returned to the stone, and the celestial map is calibrated. The frequency of the 241,000-year cycle is now being broadcast from the depths of the Pacific. The countdown to the Great Reset has entered its final phase. This is what the Sumerians called the descent. The moment the kingship, the frequency, returns to the surface. It is not an invasion, but a re-emergence. The stabilization grid is going into full power mode to prepare for the coming solar shift. The frequency is changing us. Our DNA is reacting to the pulse from the depths, realigning our biology to the ancient rhythm. We are being tuned. Just as the priestesses of Sumer were the interfaces, we are now becoming the conduits for the new age. The sun rises in a new world. The sunken citadel of Japan has fulfilled its purpose, bridging the gap between our forgotten past and our inevitable future. The unbinding of history is almost complete, but the grid stretches further north than we ever imagined. The unbinding of the Pacific node is only the beginning. The frequency is already traveling north, bleeding into the permafrost of the Russian wilderness. It is leading us to a site that dwarfs even these massive terraces, a site where the stones themselves seem to challenge the laws of gravity. Our next investigation takes us to the Gornaya Shoria Megaliths. Here, we will confront 3,000-ton blocks of granite that appear laser-cut and stacked with impossible precision. If Yonaguni was the signal, Siberia is the shield. The global network is coming back online. Unbind the past. Remember the future. Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for Video 15. The 3,000-ton Megaliths of Siberia. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned to the frequency. This is Echoes Unbound.